2018 Ducati Monster 821. In the fall of 1992, Ducati introduced its first ever monster, the M900. It was a bike aimed outside of the company's typical sport bike targets, a simple roadster that blended the frame from an 851 Superb bike with the air-cooled 904cc motor from the Super Sport series. Designer Michael Gallagher draped the first monster in a bare minimum of bodywork to create an elemental naked roadster. It was a smashing success that some people even claimed financially saved a struggling Ducati. Now, after 25 years and more than 320,000 monsters produced, the financially secure and seriously competitive Ducati has assembled the world's moto press in Rimini, Italy, to test the new 2018 Monster 821. More of a cosmetic refresh than a whole new motorcycle, the 2018 Monster 821 is a well-integrated blend of components from last year's Monster 821 and 1200 models. It basically uses the frame, brakes, -4 silencer, fuel tank, headlight, color TFT instrument display, foot pegs, bodywork, and miscellaneous hardware from a Monster 1200 as desirable upgrades to a Monster 821 for 2018. It combines that extensive list of borrowed Monster 1200 hardware with the existing 821cc Testastretta 11 degrees engine, 43mm inverted fork, and spring preload and rebound damping adjustable rear shock connected to a double-sided swing arm from last year's 821. There you have it, a new Ducati is born. With a clear eye on the past, the new 821 features retro original M900 touches like its cool exposed gas tank latch and the exact same shade of yellow paint. Obviously, it looks a whole lot like a Monster 1200, and that's not a bad thing, seeing as that bike in particular really does a nice job of simplifying the somewhat easy aesthetic we've seen in recent liquid-cooled monsters. I say Ducati was wise to hoist that M900-inspired styling direction upon the 1200 and new 821cc versions. If a yellow bike with a black frame ain't your bag, then the 821 is also available in red with a red frame, or black with a black frame. All three 2018 Monster 821 color schemes come with black wheels. Following a quick technical briefing and a long meal, we retired for the night with visions of straight apex dancing in our heads. Snuggle the pillow, then splash some water on your face in the morning, and poof, it's time to write. Sunny, damp and chilly. Following the pragmatic application of 2 turns of extra rear spring preload to suit my weight and a pinch more rebound damping for the shock, I thumped a Monster 821 to light and dutifully followed my designated route out into the still sleeping city of Rimini. The test route was about 100 miles in length, with only about 10 of them being within Rimini city limits proper. It doesn't take much city riding to discover that the 821, like all monsters, is a fine platform on which to negotiate the city's streets. It also didn't take but a moment to observe that the gearbox can be particularly notchy when cold, and that the exhaust header's heat shield intrudes a bit into the space that the rider's right shin might otherwise occupy. That was a minor annoyance for a few minutes, until the modified, more bow-legged, riding position somewhat alleviated the issue. Slightly more problematic is the fact that the new peg brackets aren't entirely as successful at relieving the boot interference problems that were such an annoyance with the old one-piece units. It's much improved, but the leading edge of the right rear passenger peg bracket is close enough to the rider's peg that a large boot and the balls of the feet-foot position frequently results in contact with the back of the right boot heel, which really is an unnecessary inconvenience. The bulk of the right is medium-speed twisty stuff, which is of course ideal for an Italian monster. The pace picked up a bit as soon as we were out of town, and a Monster 821 proceeded to reveal itself as a friendly and amenable bike that suits a wide range of riding styles. That is mostly thanks to its stable chassis coupled with wide high-leverage handlebars. It's a bike that manages to be both stable and nimble at the same time, and, dare I say, almost SV650-like in its accessibility. That's a real compliment. Of course, the 821 would peel the skin off an SV650 in any real contest of speed, thanks to more power and torque as well as the far superior quality and tuning of Ducati's suspension components. Note, this is a European roadster through and through. Aside from a slightly notchy gearbox on the low mileage example in the test ride and a very slight tendency to steer a bit wide on corner exits, I'd say it's just about perfect for navigating twisty countryside. The seating isn't quite as cramped as on some other monsters I've ridden over the past couple decades and is partially helped by the fact the stock seat can be adjusted to one of two heights. It's 31.9 tall in the high mounting position, and about an inch shorter in the low position. Thankfully Amho's test unit was in the high position and my long legs and old knees were pretty comfortable throughout the relatively short ride. Perched in the middle of the Merecchia Valley, in Romagna between the Marche region and the Republic of San Marino, San is the capital of the Principality of Montefeltro and has been called the most beautiful city in Italy. We spent an extended lunch stop there, which provided plenty of time for us to admire the bright yellow monsters scattered around the church square in the center of town. The new 821's overall styling is sporty and muscular, keeping in on iconic monsters styling cues. I really like the round headlight and the slightly more retro-looking new tank with the funky retro clip behind the ignition key compared to the groupified and boring tank 2017 Monster 821. In general, the overall restyle was fairly gentle. It still looks a lot like a monster. Ducati's official position on it is that the restyle was only what was needed, nothing more. In the end, I think the new Monster would make a fantastic and stylish first Ducati for any rider with more than 6 months of riding experience under their belt. Ducati wasn't B.S.A when it claimed the new 821 is the best balanced monster. The new Monster 821 will be arriving at U.S.